7 Rules for Social Media Success. Hello, my name is James Burns, founder and principal of Project Brilliant, an idea consultancy and digital ventures firm based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Goals for today's session include understanding how transparency and authenticity are critical in social media, learning how 7 important lessons for a business professional organization using social media. So of course, the first question is, why is social media so powerful? It's about trust, transparency, and authenticity, about real conversations, engaging and interacting with your customer. Today we're going to talk about 7 rules that will make you successful in accomplishing these goals. Rule number 1, you must define your personal and business brand. Understanding who you are, what you're about, and who you want others to perceive you as is critical. In a different lesson, we talk about building and creating a personal brand and the importance of it. I suggest you watch that video as well. What we talk about in terms of personal branding is creating and identifying an image of who you are, creating content, and posting content that reflects that brand image. Rule number 2, you need to create accounts for both you and your business, but make sure they're separate and always use a photo. You want to drive that personal one-on-one relationship. Organizations who allow themselves to be just a single profile where an individual as an employee is creating content isn't the most effective way of doing it. You want your own brand personality existing for your business and yourself. Here you can see 2 examples of a company presence, in this case Mobiletopia, one of our digital ventures, and my own personal brand presence on Facebook. Under Mobiletopia's page, it's content related to the business voice, using the business branding, logo, etc. Whereas on my personal page, I'm having a little bit more personal conversation with friends, colleagues, and having conversation about what's interesting to me as an individual. Rule number 3, you have to speak to your target audience. Talking to your customer is important in these platforms. If your customer has a certain personality, a certain type of objective of need, you must make sure you're addressing that. From a perspective of our business, we're talking to business professionals and business executives, so we're always thinking about ways to post content that's specifically to those who are entrepreneurial, who are always advancing themselves in terms of business fortitude, looking at how technology is going to move their business forward. We have to address that. We're not talking with a teenage voice. We're not talking with a very stodgy conservative voice. We're trying to be hip, technology-centric, and cutting edge. Always be thinking about the kind of voice your customers expect to hear from you and use that voice when speaking to them. As an example here, one organization who's known for giving Apple a hard time makes a post on Twitter. Apple press conference of doom starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Any predictions other than a rise in ambient Android smugness? That's a pretty specific type of voice, and it works for them because this organization is all about kind of giving Apple a hard time and trying to create some kind of doubt in the idea that Apple is a superior brand. Below it, Susan G. Komen for a cure, fighting for breast cancer. Very specifically reaching out to a constituent base. Do you have 20 minutes to help out with critical breast cancer research? Click here to make a difference in the battle. That voice to those women who are supporting that organization is very specific and very targeted. They're not looking at talking to everyone the same way. They're talking to an audience they know and love and are able to do so in a way that creates endearment and loyalty. Rule number 4, you must commit to 15 minutes a day of pearl diving. Now, odds are you've probably never pearl dived. So what does this mean? Well, pearl diving is pretty simple. It requires very basic tools of a boat, a sharp knife, perhaps goggles and snorkel. You go out to where the oyster beds are out in the water, and you dive off and take a huge breath and go underwater. And in these shallow oyster beds below the surface, you start to learn over time and with experience which oysters have pearls in them and which ones don't. You can see based on size, color, placement, etc. Just like in social media, you tend to learn which of your connections have real value and which ones don't. And you spend your time making sure that you're talking to, or in the case of pearl diving, looking inside of the right oysters to try to find pearls. And what happens is, over time, you eventually begin to discover that pearls aren't in most of the oysters that exist, even the ones that are most likely to have them. Just like in your social media connections, even though there might be good prospects for business relationships, not everyone's going to have a deal for you to do. Nonetheless, it's important for you to cultivate them. And one of the techniques of doing that in pearl diving is to reach down, pick up a piece of sand, and drop it into the oyster. Well, the same thing can work with relationships on social media. You post on their page, you send a message to them, you keep in touch with those people who you want to stay top of mind with, and eventually those opportunities or pearls rise to the top. Rule number 5, demonstrate your experience through sharing knowledge, ideas, and insight. If your goal is to be an expert in your field, then one of the greatest ways for you to build confidence of those around you that you know what you're talking about is in posting content from other professionals, trade media, and researchers about what's happening in your field through your social platforms. Now you have to be mindful of the fact that some of your audiences that you're connected to may not find that of interest. If you're in a very niche topic, say the scientific field, and you have a lot of friends on Facebook who are more personal, they may find all that content a little off-putting. So you have to balance being able to demonstrate experience with a reasonable amount of content without necessarily trying to take it over the top. That being the case, if you're in a social platform such as LinkedIn, where you are connected to many of your professional colleagues, posting content relating to that content and sharing those ideas and insights around that content create great value for you with your peer network. The key is to find good content and to not be posting things that tear away from the perspective of you being an expert or someone with great experience in your field. A couple examples that work. Here, Compendium Blogware, an Indianapolis-based blogging software company, makes a post about great social marketing strategies from ServiceLive, and they post a link to that. Even though it's not their product or their information, they're posting out to others in the field. Here, Jeremiah Yowang, who is considered one of the leading experts on social media's use in the business world, takes a link to a story about alumni organization's social network matrices and how they're using it. CheddarGetter, a venture of Sproutbox based in Bloomington, posting content, talking to other organizations, in this case our business, Project Brilliant, on Twitter, saying we should get together, talk about business, and talk about what they do. And they're positioning themselves with the right expertise around them. Or Jason Falls, another social media consultant based out of Kentucky, posting content about the 7 deadly sins of blogging and referring to other people's work builds credibility and awareness of what's happening in your field. Rule number 6, you must listen more than you speak. If you can respond frequently, you will win. Why? Because social media is about being responded to. Why do people post what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're up to? It's not because they just want to tell you what they're doing. It's because they want you to respond back and that they know you're listening to them. So think about the opportunity with your prospects that are in your social network as well as your business colleagues and business partners. When they're creating content, one of the easiest ways you can build confidence and build a relationship with them is not in just reading it, but responding. If it's on Facebook, click the like button, make a quick comment. If they post a photo, respond it. If someone's posting something on Twitter that's interesting, retweet that. If they're making a comment on LinkedIn, make note of it and respond to them through a private message. Find ways to use those people's content to say that you're paying attention to them. You'll win fans, and more importantly, you'll build relationship. And rule number 7, probably one of the most important rules because people are expecting to be rewarded for the work they do, whether it's reasonable or not. Reward your customers who connect to you. If someone becomes a fan of your business on Facebook, if someone follows you on Twitter, identify ways to give them rewards. Not necessarily monetary, not necessarily with physical goods, but thank them, identify them, retweet the things that they're saying, post the content they're posting on your page. Rewards come in terms of affection, not just necessarily in terms of value, monetary value. So be thinking about opportunities where rewarding your customers can build and create more relationship. Here's a great example. Scotty's Brewhouse, a Indiana-based chain of restaurants, offering to Facebook fans only an all-you-can-eat wings, discount off your order, plus carry-out from online today only. They're creating a specific value to their customers who are their fans, saying here's a special deal. Or TigerDirect.com, a leading online e-retailer of technology equipment. They're offering a special deal only for their fans with a special coupon delivered to that platform. Those are more monetary, but they all create, again, a special value for saying, yes, thank you for being a fan. Thank you for having some loyalty to us. Remember, connect, engage. The 7 rules will help you find success. Good luck. If you have any additional questions on this topic, please contact me at the information below.